What's up, everybody? Ben here. Today I'm going to try to make some more progress on this RZR Pro R that was wrecked earlier in the year. I have kind of ordered parts, waited on parts, did a little progress, waited on this, waited on that, and pretty much now everything it's waiting on me now. So I just got to get some time in the shop and work on it. As you can see, and I've made, I think, 2 videos about the disassembly and stuff, but and the wreck that led up to this. But today I'm going to try to make some progress on the rear end. I'm going to remove these factory radius rods and plate, and I'm going to go ahead and get the muffler out of the way also. I'm going to replace that with something else. And I've said it like 4 times, but I think that will finally be the end of disassembly. I don't know, maybe not. I still have some front end work to do. And then I'm gonna start putting the parts back on it. I have ordered a bunch of shock therapy goodies. I'll get them out of the box, and then I had them powder coated and start putting them all back together and get them on this car. I really wanna get the suspension back together so I can get this thing on the ground and roll it out and wash it. And then I'll put the body back on, and the body is now ready as well. So, like I say, I just need to get some time in the shop, a few days, I think, and I can have this thing wrapped up. But, of course, you never know if there's gonna be problems, more stuff that comes up. So, anyways, I'm gonna get started just pulling these things off, and then I will unbox the new goodies, and you'll get to see those for the first time. All right, so I just received some more parts for the red RZR Pro R Rebuild, and I just got a slew of stuff from Shock Therapy. This is their perfect tie rod kit for the front end. I have a bent tie rod. I'm gonna replace it with a set, and I watched their install video. Shock Therapy has great install videos and stuff, and they include a drill bit to remount or to bore the spindles. So I'll do that video. But first of all, before we do anything else, I'm going to take these things to get them powder coated. These are radius rods, uppers and lowers, pull plate, and then the tie rods, like I say. So I'm going to unpackage these, take these ends off, just unscrew them, and take them all to get powder coated along with some other stuff. All right, so that wasn't too big of a deal. Had to get a rubber mallet to bang that muffler out of its spots. You can tell it's kind of been jammed in there for a while. These came out easy. This is a 21 millimeter, pretty big hardware for a side-by-side, but that's the way the Pro Rs are. A little bit of a trick to get back there, but no big deal. Had to use just used a breaker bar with a short socket on it. Quick and easy. I also went ahead and took some more stuff off the front. So here are the parts. This is Shock Therapy radius rods and Shock Therapy toe links and sway bar links. So I've had, and I also have the Shock Therapy springs and valving on the shocks as well. I'll get to that in a little bit. But I've had the toe links and anti-sway bar links on for a while. I got those done in Glamis last time we were there. You make an appointment and you take your car by the Glamis, or by the Shock Therapy booth in Glamis in Vendor Row, and they'll work on your car. So I did that to both of my Pro Rs last time we were there. So springs, shock, valving, and this is what they look like. Factory toe links are a nice billet aluminum that are machined on the ends. Looks nice. And then the toe links. And the great thing about those shock therapy toe links is they eliminate the cam adjustment that's on the factory toe links. They got lots of information on it, and they got very professional videos on their website. So I recommend you go there and check it out. But nice product. All I did was pull those things off and have them powder coated. And so that's what these are. These are the toe links. These are the sway bar links. So something that's new is I'm replacing these factory radius rods with these radius rods. This is the shock therapy radius rod kit. I had to press out the eyelets on one end, but all the other 6 are you know, just really big hind joints that screw in. So I'm going to thread those in. Well, first of all, I'm going to press these back in, and then I'm going to thread in the hinds and hold them eye to eye with the factory radius rods to try to match the length. That's how your rear end is aligned. One way that's aligned, I guess, but then the toe links adjust, well, they called toe links because they adjust the toe. Whenever you twist that toe link, it pushes this thing in and out, that knuckle, which is, you know, the hub where your wheel is mounted. So lots of adjustment back here. It's obviously going to have to go to a professional alignment shop. 4-wheel alignment is hard, and I can use a measuring tape and get it close, but it is certainly not going to be right. So I'm going to go take it to a professional alignment shop that has like the laser machine that does it. So, but anyways, in order to get it as close as I can, I'm just going to match the length on these factory sway bars or factory radius rods, and then start bolting them back up. I think I'm going to put the toe links in first. They were harder to get in than I expected. I kept the axles in because I didn't want to have to take out all of this stuff, and that made it a challenge because I can't move the trailing arm out far enough to get the toe link just straight in or whatever. So I don't know, maybe I'm missing something. They might just slip out of the differential to get me that room, but I'm going to try to avoid doing that. I don't work on razors a whole lot, so I'm learning a lot as I go. You know what? I should go ahead and get my book out. Let's see. Yeah. So I buy a book for every machine that I own, and have about half of them here. And I want to make sure I get the torque right and everything like that whenever I'm refastening or whenever I'm putting the fasteners back in. Oh, here's this. This is the rear plate. Also a real nice shock therapy piece. And got it powder coated red. Kind of a controversial decision to powder coat these because the factory finish is pretty cool, especially on these billet pieces that have the machined ends. This thing was the same way. And then springs, so shock therapy, you void their warranty if you do your own powder coating. So there's lots of discussion around that as well, but I did it. So here we go. I'm gonna start putting these things back in. All right, got one side kind of bolted up. Everything's just kind of finger tight. Nothing's torqued or anything. Just kind of hanging on there. It's going to look good. I'm happy to see some color in the suspension. half of my problem is the way I have it jacked up, the blocks under the wheels or under the A-arms, and then that big block down there is blocking a lot of the access I need, so I might have to move the way this one's done. Just to get in there better. So as you can see, I just had the ends for all of these parts just kind of left in there with the fasteners. So that bolt, there's a little door in the skid plate. That's the door on the skid plate. And then there's a bolt that goes through from there through to get the end of the front toe link end fastened. And then the rear toe link end is like this. So I just kind of left all the ends back where they were with the factory hardware, and so I wouldn't misplace them. So I just gonna take those out, and this time I'll kind of walk you through it. I wanted to do one first to make sure I got my angles right. Okay, I have tried putting one end in and then threading on the other end, but long story short, I just could never make it happen. So I do thread both of the ends on, and since this is adjustable, one end is left threaded and the other end is right threaded, just like a tie rod. And I have success threading them all the way in and then expanding them for adjustment. They come with anti-seize on these threads. And you want to make sure that there's still some on there. Since I had these powder coated, I had to reapply on the inside a little bit. Okay, I'm not going to put those on yet. So now, trick. I had to come in this way. Okay, so I'm not going to put that bolt in because I can push the whole thing that way a little further. Goodness gracious. Huge pain to get those in. All right, after reviewing the shock therapy instructions, I'm an idiot. This didn't look right to me, but the radius rod, I have the lower on backwards. It didn't quite feel right, but So I'm gonna flip that around, but I did also find out they require some minor like trimming of this factory trailing arm down here. So I'm gonna do that now. And since shop safety is a high priority, I got my workshop safety glasses. Basically, the new radius rod can hit some of this metal down here, so they just kind of show you where to clear it. Once again, my video is not really instructional. I'm not trying to tell you how to do this, just more of like the journey of this car. Please go to the Shock Therapy YouTube page and see exactly what to do and how to do this. All right, so got those 4 on. None of the bolts are tight or anything. I need to get the shocks on and let the suspension go to full droop so I can test that clearance that the shock therapy video was talking about. But it looks good. Last thing I'm gonna do tonight is thread on this anti-sway bar link. These are really nice pieces. They're aluminum, they're real lightweight. Pretty simple to do. So I noticed these are not, they're both righty-tighty. Neither one of them have a reverse thread, so it's not really designed for you to adjust it later. It's just a couple of eyelets to connect the sway bar to the trailing arm. I do need to check. The gap on each side. Yeah, it's definitely not something that's adjusted. Okay, that's it for me for tonight. It's late and I'm tired. I've been driving all day. So looks pretty good. I'm happy to get some shiny new parts on this thing. Next thing I'm gonna do is get the shocks out and add all these springs to it, to them, and that's the spring compressor I've got to use. If you watched my disassembly video, you saw me take them all off, so I just got to put them all back on now. And once I get the shocks on there, I can cycle the suspension and check full droop and make sure everything clears. And then I'll kind of snug up everything and torque all the bolts and adjust alignment to the best of my ability. Probably need to get it on the ground, so I've got to do the front end before I get further along with alignment and stuff. So anyways, let me get those shocks out next, and we'll keep going on the rear end work here. All right, you've probably seen me do this before if you watched my channel. This spring compressor, they're pretty popular. You can get them at most tool stores, or like Amazon even has them. This spring compressor is not quite big enough for these shocks because these are big ass shocks. So I got a ratchet strap. Just be careful. It is important to clock the springs. You want the springs to be 180 degrees out. I'll show you that closer in detail here in a minute. right, the second one now. The good news is you don't have to go down very far, just far enough to slip this in that top. All right, so a couple things I wanted to point out. First of all is the spring clocking. So you see how this spring ends right here? You want to make sure that the other spring ends 180 degrees out, so opposite of that. You don't want that spring to end and this spring to end at the same place because it might rub or bend the springs or something. I've seen some really weird stuff. So anyways, that's the main thing, is just turn them so that they land opposite. And then secondly, this piece that you saw me put in at the end there has the little shield. That just faces roughly the opposite direction as the reservoir. It has kind of a keyhole shape up here, so it does kind of lock in to this piece up here, and this bump stop will kind of hold it in. But so this can really only seat properly two ways. I think it can seat the wrong way. I'm not sure about that actually. It might only fit one way, but just when you're lining it up, the little shield goes opposite of the reservoir. And the point of that is, you know, it's just like a rock guard or a debris guard for the shaft. So you see, this is on the front, this is on the back. Now this isn't exactly 180 degrees opposite of it, but you get the point. So it just keeps from debris shooting up and hitting that shaft. The shaft is relatively sensitive. You don't want that. You want that to be perfectly smooth. And obviously it helps keep rock chips and stuff like that off of your springs, which matters to me because I got some nice, fresh, pretty springs now. So I'm looking forward to getting that on there. Okay, so now I'm just gonna bolt these up to the car. I gotta take these blocks out from underneath so that the suspension can droop further. All right, so got all those parts on now. All the bolts are finger tight, or most of them I have tightened like with a wrench just by hand. So now I'm going to go around and check the Polaris spec in the book for actual torque values and go around and torque everything. I'm also going to use the jacks here to kind of cycle the suspension a little bit to make sure everything's running smoothly and not binding and we have good range of motion. So I'm not really going to go through all the details of all that, but I'll show you a little something of it while we're doing it. Making sure that things clear. So the shock therapy radius rods, you have to grind. I did earlier a little bit where you got to grind a little bit of the factory trailing arm. And so I got to check to make sure that's clearance right here, here, and here. It's a little notch that's required. And once again, I'll tell you, I highly recommend go to Shock Therapy's YouTube page, and they've got excellent videos for all of these things. So I'm not going to try to tell you how to do it whenever they do it. Great, and obviously they're the experts. So that's all I'm really going to check for now, and then, like I say, torque all the bolts. All right, so this is the page for the rear suspension in the Polaris book. So I'm going to start with the shock bolts. 133 foot-pounds. And then I'll just keep going around. There's a lot of them that are at that same. So the knuckle, trailing arm, toe links, front and rear. So I'm going to do all of those that are 133 foot-pounds. That's a lot. So I'm going to get in there. I got a long breaker bar, and then I got a big torque wrench. These are both half-inch drive. Golly. It says work. So the book says for the inner bolts on the radius rods, so these four, it says to torque it to 54. No, 52 foot-pounds, and then turn it 90 degrees. Another 90 degrees. So it's kind of a funny combination. You see stuff like this. I don't know the real technical engineering behind that type of stuff, but it usually has something to do with stretching the bolts or like seating those, the stuff in there. So I don't know. I'm just going to follow the instructions. It shouldn't be too hard. All right, so this says 52 foot-pounds and then 90 degrees. So that's 52. So from straight down to there, that's 90 degrees, about. That's probably just as much as the others. Okay, that's 52. Now 90 degrees. Golly, it's a lot. Two. Okay. All right, and the last ones are these smaller ones for the anti-sway bar. This is 81 foot-pounds. Okay. And I already did the other one. All right, so that does it for this video. Got everything torqued down, tightened up. Obviously, I don't have the wheels and tires or anything on it yet, so I'm not gonna get it on the ground and be able to align it or anything like that. So like these lock nuts and stuff, these are all loose still. So that's all stuff to do once it's refined. But next video, I intend to get this, I got the shock therapy tie rod set, and also have these Black Ops ball joints. I don't necessarily have to do those things here on the passenger side, but the driver's side is kind of mangled, and I'm gonna replace all those things. This axle is also bad, so I'll work on the front end, get the suspension done, and like I say, I really want to get the car on the ground. I'll put it back on its factory wheels and tires just to roll it out and clean it up. I mean, look at this interior stuff everywhere. So I really want to clean it while the body's off. And then, looky here. I'm excited to say that I have the body. Any shop that has a kitchen must be well used. So of course I have parts all over the kitchen countertops. It's exactly the way it should be in a shop, and here we are. So this is the color. This is actually a painted color, not powder coated. This is Red Hot from GM, so like Chevrolet pickups. And I think like Camaros, there's a few other GM vehicles that are this paint code. So it's Red Hot. I have a half-ton pickup that's the same color. And the powder coat is called A-Static Red. It is coincidentally the same as what's on this YXZ that I built for my daughter. So looking forward to putting these things on. Like I say, I just want to clean up the car better before I start putting these on. So I really just need to get through that front suspension. And that'll be next. Looking forward again to having my 2-seat RZR Pro R back. It'll be fun. Like and subscribe if you'd like to see more about this build or this, I guess, repair, or any of the other vehicles that you see here in the shop that I'm often doing work on different projects. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe.